Hello fishy folks, welcome to my vlog about redoing the fish room. So just a little history, probably about February I started building out a fish room. I planned my racks, cinder block base with 2x6s, learned it from Aquarium co-op. I planned a central sump system, basically because of cost and ease of maintenance. And I decided I would heat the room instead of every tank and use sponge filters. In the sump would be a pretty large amount of biomedia. I went with lava rock because it's cheap and quite effective. And I started toying with K1 coldness, micro K1 coldness, because I thought it was a pretty cool idea. So I bought some, and I had made some homemade filters in the tanks before I had my system set up. And I started building the system and building the fish room. As I started getting more fish, I started realizing I probably should do some sort of quarantine. Had never done quarantine before, never had a problem as far as I know, and that was that. Well, as you know, if you watched my channel before, about 2 months ago I started losing fish. They were wasting away. You can call it wasting away disease, whatever. I had some sort of internal some sort of internal parasite. And because it was in one tank and all the tanks shared a sump, on the rack behind me, every tank got sick. And I was losing guppies and some platies, and I did lose an angel. I lost a couple rams. So, long story short, I knew I needed to fix that, and then I needed to change up my system. So I'm gonna go to an auto water change system. And this vlog is gonna document my thought process, which I like to do out loud because I'm crazy, and the planning and trials and errors, because I believe in sharing mistakes. Other people can learn. Plus, I'm not that smart. People might be able to help me. I do get some great advice in the comment section of my videos. So, here we go. Here's the plan. Somewhere over here is going to be a 200-gallon water storage container. It's actually outside right now with bleach and water in it, getting it sanitized. I believe it was the bucket to a bucket truck, a lineman's bucket truck, and it's an insulator. And I paid 25 bucks for it, and based on the measurements, it'll hold 209 gallons. And it seems like it's made out of maybe fiberglass or some sort of plastic that's an insulation that insulates against electricity, not heat. So I'm going to put it over there. And this is still going to be right here. I'm going to use most of my existing plumbing. I'm going to put a float valve in here, and water will go from the storage container on a timer, an irrigation timer with irrigation solenoids, and pump water into the tanks. And then they'll overflow through these bulkheads, just like they do now, into this drain tube, just like they do now, into that sump, just like they do now. Except, instead of that water going through this biomedia and getting recirculated into the system, we'll call that a closed loop system, it's going to be an open loop system. So, just as the valves are now, when that float turns on, the water will come up this pipe, go this way, and go up and drain into my sink. In the summertime, it'll drain outside into barrels for my wife's garden, but for now, into the sink. So when the timer shuts off for my autofill system, the water will drain back to the level it is pretty much right now. It's kind of what I'm testing. And then the next day, it'll do it again. And that'll be an auto water change system. There are a couple of things I need to figure out. One of them is in an irrigation system, they use a pump relay, which takes up the load. I don't know if you know anything about electricity, but when you start a pump, there's a pretty large load put on that pump. And once it's running, you know, another second later, it's fine. But you need something other than a regular irrigation timer to turn a pump on. Some people, I think Corey from Aquarium Co-op uses just a regular timer, you know, like this timer, you know, for lights. And I could do that also. What I like about the pump timer, the pump relay, is it's part of the irrigation system. So the pump relay turns on, then the solenoids open and the water is pumped. If you don't know what a solenoid is, essentially it's an electrical switch. Electric current creates a magnetic field and it opens a valve. That's pretty much all it is. Solenoids are everywhere in your car, transmission, they control emissions, all kinds of things. Anyway, so I need to figure out how to control the actual pump that'll be in my water storage container. And I need to figure out how to distribute. Distribute? Yeah, distribute. So I'm thinking of just running PVC up and tapping into that manifold I made. The problem with that is if I tapping into the top is going to be almost impossible without completely redoing that section because of the way I made it. When I made it, it fit my purpose perfectly, but now I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult. I could tap into the end and shoot water that way, but I think by the time the water gets down to that tank, there might not be enough pressure. I could probably test it. It's only PVC, but I got to figure that out. Tapping into the middle, let's go back there again, shouldn't be as difficult. You know, I can bring the fill line up and over, drop it here, the water comes in here and spreads that way. I would put a ball valve here to stop that, you know, to stop the flow from just going down, and then I would continue the run. No, I would add another run down here. That's the thing. I'm gonna have 4 zones. Forgive me if I'm a little scatterbrained. I think out loud quite often, but I'm gonna have 4 zones. 1, 2, 3 for the bottom, and then 1 for the rack over there, which will get redesigned as well. The bottom currently only has 2 tanks that drain into the system. I may or may not try to adjust that and add some more tanks, move the planting for profit tanks somewhere else. Haven't really decided yet. In addition to these bottom 2 tanks, once I get tanks over here, which this will probably get all redesigned. I bought this 70-gallon tank for $10. It needed plastics. I decided to reseal it. No time. My son and his girlfriend were going to do it. They've sort of he's lost interest in fish. So, all right, enough rambling about that. So there are some things I need to figure out, and you will see me try things. Right now I'm testing 2 things. I want to see where the water drains in all the tanks. I'm pretty happy with it. And I'm probably going to set up my float valve, which is, this is what I purchased from Amazon. I think it was about 35 bucks. The Basement Watchdog sump pump dual float switch and controller. So I just have to figure out how to mount it, because it's designed to mount on a sump pump, so I probably have to secure it to the PVC going up. So I got to do that today. I have to build shelves today. It's another thing. I don't know if you're familiar with the Container Store, but my wife loves Alpha systems, and we had a ginormous Alpha, it's huge, in our family room, and a couple years ago we took it down for some furniture, teak furniture that she wanted, And I have all this alpha sitting around, and I may start to utilize that down here. So what I would have to do is drill into the concrete, which is behind here, which, what the heck was that? Which, I don't know if you've ever drilled into concrete, but the way you secure things in concrete are tapcons. They're just special screws that go into concrete. You obviously have to drill it with the concrete drill bit, blah, blah, blah. $8 for that at Lowe's. I have two problems. One, this is an old battery charger that doesn't work. I can't find the new battery charger. I'm a little pissed off about that. I don't really want to go spend another $50 on a battery charger, because I know once I do that, I'll find it. It could be down here in this mess. Maybe I'll try to clean this up first. I know. Leave me alone. I'm busy. If I found it right now, I'd be pretty damn happy, but no. Alright. Enough rambling about that. So that's what I got going on down here, guys. I hope you like this series. I hope you guys can offer some advice.